All right, what's happening, y'all? It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington. I wanted to drop and do one of these. I was supposed to did it yesterday, but everything was intensely crazy. Um, Thank you, everybody who has been chiming in with these, man. When I drop and do these, and I jump on here, people who've been commenting, people who've been DMing me, people who've been loving it, people who've been checking out Mad Titan. I'm just trying to do a lot more, be a lot more interactive, things like that. I am solely today on my YouTube channel. I didn't feel like connecting the Instagram and all that other stuff. So I said I'm just gonna be here. Also, I do not know for sure if I will be doing another one of these this week. I tomorrow am going in to have spinal surgery. Now, it is a minimally invasive surgery. It is on my lower spine because I was in a car accident in July. For those who are unfamiliar, I was in a car accident in July. Um, I was rear-ended by a car that was rear-ended by another car, and I have two pinched nerves and a bulging disc in my back. And they're going to go in and they're going to reduce the bulging disc. So, in pure supervillain fashion, as I always like pretty quick. So I'm expecting to be back up and running as soon as I can. But I do not know how long I'll be able to sit up straight like this and get everything together. Granted, I got to sit and type and work on scripts and get all this other shit in email and things like that together. So I'm trying to make sure I can get all of that. But that happens tomorrow. So I do not know. I'm hoping to either push through the pain and do one tomorrow evening when I get back to give like an update, or even Thursday. I'm hoping I can honestly, even after having the spinal surgery, take my black ass to the gym on Thursday. But nonetheless, y'all saw the thumbnail and what it was this past weekend. It was a lot going on because it was weekend two of Coachella and WrestleMania weekend in Vegas. Now, I know a lot of people hitting me up personally, was asking me, was I going to Vegas? Did I want to go to Vegas? I have several answers to that. Number one, yes and no. I know how crazy Vegas is normally. My anxiety gets too high with that many people, and WrestleMania is just a lot. But also financially, I couldn't swing that. That's a lot of money to be spending for a weekend, and I still got Comic Con coming up in the summer, so I'd rather be focused about that. But there were so many amazing events and shows that happened this past weekend. I wish I had picks and assets from everything, but again, I am just one person putting this together to come do this little show for y'all. It's become this little less talk thing, and I don't know if I want to keep it as that, but we shall see. So many dope independent shows. I know Sabu had his last match against Joey Janela at Joey Janela Spring Break in Vegas. The WWE ID tournament went down. Um, TNA did a show. So many other great promotions did shows. GCW, well, which was Joey Janela's joint. Bloodsport happened. Shouts out to my homeboy Jason Ayers, WWE ref Jason Ayers, his son Riz Maddox. Riz got his GCW debut and definitely showed up and showed out as that. Um, Friday SmackDown itself was from the T-Mobile Arena, and I know a lot of people said that for them it did not fully feel like a go home show. By the way, I'm gonna do a lot of this here, and I'm not 1,000% sure yet, but I will possibly have this live in the Patreon and the Supervillain Squad. So if you remember over there, because I told you on Thursdays, I talk more wrestling stuff. So I'll probably break down more of the matches and everything that happened. Some of the big highlights, though, from this weekend, of course. Did I get the assets for those? Yeah, main event Jey Uso becoming the world heavyweight champion, defeating Gunther, making him tap out. Now, there one thing I know the WWE has been doing this thing a lot, and a lot of people have been talking about different stories and stuff like that. One of the things with this Jey Uso thing is that it wasn't just Jey Uso's story, it was Gunther's story too, because if you look at it, Jey Uso's story is his 5-year maturation from being which twin are you to the right hand man to main event Jey Uso to world heavyweight champion, right? And so having that, you I'm trying to see about this screenshot real quick. I want to put up this some because I wanted to have this discussion about this too. Let me get this image for y'all. But not only just that, you have to talk about Gunther's story of him being the ring general, but also not winning the big one. However, if you go back to WrestleMania in Los Angeles, he did win in the triple threat match between him, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus, where they beat the dog piss out of each other for the Intercontinental title. But last year, he lost the IC title to an underdog, Sami Zayn. This year, he lost to an underdog, Jey Uso. So then this possibly sets up the breakup of Imperium officially, where Ludwig Kaiser is like, yo, are you the ring general or not? Blah, 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 blah. So that's the thing with that. Also, before I forgot to bring this up before I even mentioned the Jey Uso thing. There was some major announcements the WWE made this weekend, and one of the biggest ones is that they have officially acquired. Now, this isn't a partnership. They have acquired AAA, the major lucha libre promotion down in Mexico. They have acquired this promotion, and now with it being under the TKO WWE umbrella, they're going to be bringing their pay-per-view Worlds Collide back. And it's going to happen in Los Angeles on June 7th. But it also was announced that on June 7th, later that evening, will be the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So on June 7th in Los Angeles at the Kia Forum, on noon, you'll get Worlds Collide. And then at 4 p.m., which is right down the street, literally right down the street, you're going to get Money in the Bank. Here's the problem for your boy, okay? I'm not going to be able to go to shit. Wait, Alberto Del Rio is the AAA champ. So I said, that reason say Alberto Del Rio getting fired. Yeah, I don't think he's going to keep a gig. Maybe, though, maybe they will keep him on board. Because, okay, that is kind of interesting. I didn't know he was the champ because they did make sure they put Vikingo front and center. Because, he's been a living highlight reel. But I won't be able to go, and it's not because of not being able to get tickets, all that. I can get all that. I'm going to be in Dallas because I'm headlining the next night at the Dallas Comedy Club. So I have to leave out Saturday to be there. I could see about trying to get. So it's just all about where would I put my. I can see if I try to make something happen. But that was one of the interesting things that came out the acquisition of AAA. Reason I bring it up too, for me, I know a lot of guys who are currently working in AAA. Shouts out to my buddy Mecha Wolf. Shouts out to Super Beast. Shouts out to Samurai Del Sol. They all working down there in AAA, and there are many other AAA talents who will now get a chance to be seen on a global audience. Which, this has been a discussion, which I'll get into momentarily, about the audience and this global thing and what this means now for the WWE, and if it is now gone past the product of professional wrestling and about the sponsorships, the views, the viral moments. People are talking about yesterday, Karrion Kross is snapping out as kind of a work shoot, what he did when he was talking to Sam Roberts and Maggie Morant. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things. Also, of course, that John Cena officially won his 17th world title over Cody Rhodes with the assistance of, yes, that is Travis fucking Scott. Okay. Now, I know most of us, if you've been following the storyline since the Elimination Chamber, you were like, yeah, more than likely, Travis Scott will be on a part of this at WrestleMania. But the missing piece was The Rock. This whole sell your soul to The Rock thing, there was no Rock involved. It's weird. But Cena has his record, and then on Monday Night Raw, they're setting up Cena and Orton, which for the first time ever is actually going to be a unique one because Cena and Randy Orton have had their many matches before. For those who are unfamiliar, Cena and Orton have had numerous matches within both of their careers. But this will be the first time ever that Cena and Orton will face each other Wait, said The Rock killed everything today on Pat's show. Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. Um, I gotta probably check it out. But this will be the first time ever in the Cena Orton feud that Cena is the heel and Orton is the babyface. This will be the first time ever. So that's what makes this unique. So it's like with Cena's retirement tour, we're getting things that we haven't gotten that we want to see. And again, people want to see heel Cena. People want to see heel Cena as a champ. And now you get heel Cena versus babyface Randy Orton. Can't be mad at that. Speaking of babyface Randy Orton, shouts out to Orton for putting over TNA World Champion Joe Hendry. Yep, you heard exactly what the fuck I said. Joe Hendry appeared at WrestleMania. Now, to the Internet Wrestling Council, to people in the internet who are like, oh, they just got the TNA champ buried at WrestleMania. First and foremost, the TNA champion showing up at WrestleMania is a massive thing within itself. Not even just showing up at WrestleMania, performing in a marquee matchup, not only just at WrestleMania, I hate to say it this way, but on WrestleMania Sunday. Because even though WrestleMania is still it's 2 nights now, right? It is a gigantic spectacle. Sunday is always the one we're supposedly more focused on. Yes, you give a lot of the matches credence that need to have on Saturday to help boost up views, but people focus on main events and bigger things, quote unquote, on Sunday. So to have Joe Hendry, who has become a viral sensation within himself, become world renowned with his interest music and everything, have him in a marquee match, get the amazing pop that he got out of 60 something thousand people in a football stadium. You cannot say this man was buried because he took the RKO. What the fuck else was supposed to happen? Do y'all really think? And again, I'm not sure if this is for people who are watching this now, people who will be watching this later. Do you really think that Joe Hendry, do you really think that Joe Hendry is not going to get RKO'd and beaten by Randy Orton, and Randy Orton is going to job out to Joe Hendry on his 20th WrestleMania? I need you to understand all these things. So people are having these moments of this, that, and the third. It's like all this did was elevate. You know, we've been talking about the TNA WWE partnership for a minute. People have been talking about it from the internet, social media, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like this benefited TNA so much. It put them on a global scale. You know, TNA has been a big product out for years, but it has never hit a global scale to the level in which it just now hit. Fucking having your champion at WrestleMania performing. You know, that is something incredible to have happen that most people would never thought it would have happened. I do want to say this though, as far as things that people thought would never happen. I got a chance to watch it. I had to watch it because I had to work. I did shows this weekend because I had to make a little money before I go down. By the way, super chats are open. If you want to super chat while I'm live, I'm probably going to be here for probably about 45 minutes to an hour. But here's my biggest issue. It started with Prime being the sponsor for WWE and being on the canvas and on the turnbuckles. And it's like, all right, this is something Vince has never wanted. And people kind of said, well, you got to evolve. And I was like, yeah, boxing has sponsorships on the ring, which not cool. There's a few. Then Raw and Netflix happened, and there started to be way more advertising sponsors on the canvas. And you're like, okay, all right, there's a lot of things on the ring on Raw. Cool. But WrestleMania this year literally looked ridiculous. There were advertisement logos all over the canvas. Every turnbuckle had a different logo on it. It looked tacky to me. And I will say this, and I couldn't tweet this or post this because I'd rather save it for here. That's one of the one things Vince McMahon wanted to keep sacred with the business that I'm very glad he did at the time. And I'm like, really don't like that they moved away from. Yes, it is a giant company. It is a giant corporation. It's going to make more and more money. It is a self-sustaining engine at this point. But god damn, it feels like every match is now sponsored by something. You know, you had the wrestlers for their WrestleMania entrance gear come out as characters to a game, and you can see Drew McIntyre didn't want to do that shit. The War Raiders didn't want to do that, and that's getting to be a bit ridiculous, man. I'm reading. I got to read back on. I'm sorry, I got to take this down. So Jay Breezy said the Rock revealed on the Pat McAfee show that Ari Emanuel asked him to appear at the Elimination Chamber due to low ticket sales. He said the Rock just really exposed everything. There was no long-term plan. There was no 20 steps ahead. There was no plans of him showing up and being involved in the road to WrestleMania. That is terrible. That is terrible. All of that was for nothing. This sell your okay, low ticket sales. I get that part. But that's the problem with this whole TKO thing too now, because yes, it is about viral moment. So WWE has always been about the moment. It is about, when you hear interviews from all past greats and former workers of the WWE who've been in the company, who were in the company for a while, you hear them always talk about it's about the moment. What is the moment? What is this one thing that people will remember? What is that moment? And I completely get that, right? But now it's about these viral moments and how can you monetize that moment, and not even just connecting to the fans. Will I say all of the matches were great at WrestleMania? Not all of them, but I really can't think of one that I really was just like blah. You know, I felt like there was not energy for certain matches. Look, I'm happy for my boys Kofi and Xavier Woods. I'm happy they got their new tag team title, but their match didn't feel. I don't know if it's because the match they followed, but the match didn't feel like a WrestleMania match. I felt like it was going to be so much more, but they did just come off of following Jey Uso opening the show, winning the World Heavyweight title, having a massive celebration, which you can't knock and can't, crush that. But damn, the women's matches, all will say, the women's matches from the women's world title match with Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, the WWE women's title match with Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair, the women's tag title match. I'll get to that in a second. Those matches were strong. Look, that WWE Women's Championship match, you could tell that was some personal shit. Tiffany got some teeth broken. Charlotte hit her in the face like, bitch, get up. And it was funny to see that they did not put her over. I was grateful for it. The women's tag team title match. This is another thing that I was like, I don't like this direction. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. So right before on Saturday, Bayley gets injured. Lyra Valkyria needs to find a partner. Liv and Raquel say, hey, we ain't do shit. So Lyra has to find a new partner. Her partner comes out. It's Becky Lynch returning, who has been gone for a year. Now, storyline-wise, if you're writing this, you go, Lyra has had matches with Bayley for the Women's Intercontinental title. They bump heads. So when it comes time for tag team titles, Lyra Valkyria is tagging with the role model. Well, the role model gets hurt and she needs a partner. Who better to get besides the role model than her role model? That makes sense, storyline-wise. Then what happens is her and her role model win the titles at WrestleMania. Cool. The next night on Raw, her and her role model lose the titles back to Liv and Raquel, which give them even more historical thing, making them the first 4-time women's champions. But immediately afterwards, Becky Lynch turns on Lyra Valkyria. Now, granted, they have this history because Lyra took the women's NXT title from her. Fine. But we did all that for what? You could have just made Lyra versus Bayley, at WrestleMania. Bayley gets injured, which probably is going to be because of Becky. Have Lyra say, I said I want to be a fighting champion. I'm holding an open challenge. Anyone comes down. and then start the program with her and Becky. Yes, we had Becky do that comeback shit. What was it, 2 years ago at SummerSlam when she took the title from Bianca? We know. But you could have played these different things. You could have just played these. It's those things. It just didn't make long-term sense. And again, I've constantly talked about, whether it be here or any other podcast, any networks I've been on, that Triple H has stated for the past couple years now, WrestleMania is not the end anymore. It doesn't conclude every story. Fine. But that made no sense, because Lyra Valkyria should not have been in a tag team title match at all. Be quite honest. She should have been defending her women's Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Chelsea Green was not defending the women's United States Championship at WrestleMania. That is bewildering. She's been a top star since winning the title. Even before then, she deserved a spot on the card. Whatever. There was another big. Let me see. Oh, sorry. L Boogie said the triple threat women's match tore the house down. My favorite match. Yes. And I thought Tiffany versus Charlotte was whack. Really? I think why a lot of people think Tiffany versus Charlotte was not up to par, and I wanted to say whack, was because you expected a lot more fluidity and cohesion with the two, right? But a lot of those personal beefs got in the way of them working and doing business. And I think Charlotte sees in Tiffany her spot going away. There's been a statement that's said from like Tiffany and many other people, who is Charlotte Flair without the title? And so Charlotte without a title goes into obscurity. Is she gonna take the women's United States title off of Chelsea Green for what? But I can definitely see, now you said something. I can definitely see Becky joining. I can definitely see Becky joining Seth and being a Paul Heyman girl. Because if you didn't watch Raw, Paul Heyman now has Seth and Braun Breaker, a brand new dangerous alliance, who would beat the shit out of both Roman and CM Punk. So now what's going to happen at Backlash in St. Louis is going to be Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, more than likely, versus Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Now they have to team together again. Or you're going to do, because I think you're avoiding Roman Seth. I think you're avoiding Roman Seth as much as you can. Or you're going to do Roman Breaker, Seth Punk again. But the tag team match is inevitable. It's fucking inevitable. Let's just call it for what it is. That I'm tagging only one time together, Punk thing with you. That I thought it was going to be that until this went this way. Again, the people are asking. Hold on, Nathan says, "Love everything you do, Jay. Missing you on the break room. Thank you so much, man. I miss being on the break room as well. I've been open about that. I say it consistently. I miss Gina, Evan, Brandon, Zach, Eric, Jessica, everybody. I miss the whole crew. Again, a lot of things change. Business stuff happens behind the scenes, financially stuff, so you can't bring a lot of people in. And I completely understand. I will always have mad love for the break room. If they ever need me to come back, Evan knows my phone number. Eric knows my phone number. But Brandon, Zach, everybody knows my number and hit me up. And like I said, I talk to a lot of them regularly. So thank you for the love on that. Permverse says, I think people are saying Mania was worse than actually purely is based on the expectations this Mania had. Same goes with matches like Charlotte versus Tiff. Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. And that's what I brought up, the cohesion and the cohesiveness of the two. I think there was a lot of expectations to go into things like what was going to be. Now, real quick before I want to address this real fast. Did Seth really need Heyman, though? I think yes. I think it was inevitable given all the people he's been around, but it went without saying the favor was the favor. But I did like, so when I saw the clip on the Pat McAfee show, how Michael Cole asked Heyman, how long has this been going on? Because this couldn't be a plot setup per se, just from that I don't stomp you shit like that. So we don't, who knows? The Rock did talk about why he wasn't there. Yeah, Brian, we addressed that earlier. We addressed that a little bit earlier. Gunther versus Cole versus Pat. Yeah, I don't want to see Gunther versus Pat McAfee. For what? For what? It Gunther has to get his rematch, right? And then it's like there's a lot of stuff now that's really confusing because it's confusing for me in a good and bad way. It's confusing in a bad way because I'm like, I have no idea what may be happening, but it's confusing in a good way because I'm like, I have no idea what may be happening because now you're looking at like this. Does Jey Uso get a reign, or is his reign with the World Heavyweight title similar to his reign with the Intercontinental title just to say he had it, right? He's been a World Heavyweight champion now. Look, I hate to say this out loud again, but we all knew when Kofi Kingston lost the WWE title, he was never going to see that title again. We knew he was never going to see that title again. So it's like, Jey Uso, if he loses this, does he ever get in the world title picture again? Does he ever get in that world title picture again? That's a question. Gunther, it's like, do you go back to this? But then have you built up any other credible challengers for Gunther on Raw? The only person I thought was going to be a potential credible challenger has now been immediately taken out that mix, and that's Braun Breaker. When Breaker lost in the Fatal 4-Way and Dom pinned Finn, I was like, okay, cool. This is to elevate Breaker to main event status, which he is now. But I was thinking it was going to be elevate the Breaker. And initially I thought when they elevated him, it was going to be the world title status and all this. But now it's like we got to go through this whole rigmarole with Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, because you're not going to have more than likely Braun Breaker try to get the title before Seth Rollins unless they try to pull a two-man power trip. Unless they try to, pull a two-man power trip. Don't know. You got the Cena thing. We know Cena's thing is going to be he's going to run with this title until they put it either back on Cody or somebody else. I do say this. I tweeted about this. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been using my Twitter a little bit more because it's just like, fuck it. I can get a lot of thoughts out. I use that in threads. Here's what a lot of people like talking about the main event match. Yes, the whole Rock thing, of course, was to build up tickets, was never built to build up the match, blah, blah, blah. Fine. The biggest thing with Cody Rhodes' title run, Cody was used to usher in this new era. You needed to fully usher in Triple H's era. You needed a champion to do that. You were getting ready to do something. Roman was getting ready to wind down. His schedule isn't as high as it is anymore as it was. It's like I'm working these select dates. That's it. So Cody was willing to do all of that, right? Cody was used to usher in the era. Now, some people have said Cody's run was underwhelming. Yes. But here's the thing with Cody. When you say Cody's story is not him being the champion. I'm sorry. It's just not. Cody's story is the chase. You are more behind Cody Rhodes while he is chasing for some reason. A lot of people be like, nah, he should be the champion. Yeah, you want him to get it, but it's like the dog that catches the car. Then what does he do? Then what? You're more fired up with Cody Rhodes while he's chasing after what he wants. So now we're going to go back to that. And the beautiful thing is he's not even going to be in the chase immediately because he's probably going to take some time off TV because Randy has to go. Oh, I agree. I agree with this Black Bleach. Travis Scott I don't want him involved in shit. No, I don't care if you have the number. Yes, it's that crossover audience, viral moments, like I said, all that. But damn it, he should not be involved in that match at all. Pervert said, not really Mania 41 related, but if Cody does win it back, does he main event next year? Yeah, Cody's going to be your perennial WrestleMania main eventer. Now that you have two nights, he's going to be a main event of one of those nights. It is what it is. The odds of Cody, unless he's injured, Cody Rhodes is main eventing a night. It just is what it is. There's, unless Cody's injured or he is literally taking time off, he is main eventing a night. There's no doubt about it. He is going to be that. Now, again, going back to Jey Uso, now it's like, all right, we're building all these heels, but who is his first opponent? Because everybody thought it was going to be Sami Zayn, right? Because everybody was like, oh shit, here it goes. But no, Sami, him and his brother celebrated. Nothing happened. Everybody went, whew, thank God. And that's cool. But it's like, where are the heels at? Because now you got to do, it's not going to be Finn Balor because you got to do Finn versus Dom. It's not going to be Penta just yet. It can't be. Is Jey Uso's first opponent Rusev? He just came back, beat the dog piss out of Alpha Academy, which, by the way, that segment was pointless. Jesus. I get you want to reintroduce somebody. I get you want to get that Raw after WrestleMania pop. I get it. And Rusev has been rumored to come back, and everybody knew he officially signed. I get it, my God, I get it. But damn it, you did not need to have him squash Alpha Academy for no reason. We know Rusev's a badass. We know what he does. We know exactly what Rusev does. But it's like, come the fuck on, y'all. Come on, man. Okay, I don't want to see Rusev in the Intercontinental title picture. Because you're telling me now, if Rusev comes back in the Intercontinental title picture, this tease you gave us all for either Finn or Penta is for nothing. It's a lot coming off of WrestleMania and the booking and things like that. And which brings me to another announcement they made. They're doing a program on Netflix that I don't know why in the fuck they are doing. Okay? It is WWE Unreal. It is them going behind the scenes on shit. And this is the steal from them being in the writer's room and the screenshot revealing some of the pitched WrestleMania 41 matches that we might get. With the World Heavyweight Championship being CM Punk versus Seth versus Gunther, World Championship Rhea versus Bianca, World Women's Championship, Jade versus Nia, the YS6 versus Judgment Day, Women's Tag, Charlotte and Becky versus Io and Asuka, Bad Bunny versus Dominic Mysterio, Breaker versus McIntyre. Now, when this video is recorded, this is like roughly the beginning of the year. Okay, just so you know, this is roughly the beginning of the year. I think I see Randy Orton versus, can't tell what that is. But Rey Mysterio, and I got to see if I can find a clear picture of it. But it really, really doesn't help. This is just, let me see what you guys are saying. Somebody said, yeah, I think about it, bitch. It said that board has better matches. Absolutely. Brian, do you think it was very early for the WWE to announce Survivor Series for November? Yes. Yes. You don't announce Survivor Series till SummerSlam. You don't, y'all, TKO is jumping the gun with a lot of shit. Why would you announce your November? Nobody give a fuck about November. People are still trying to figure out they're going to be able to get those expensive ass tickets to 2-night SummerSlam. But Y6 Judgment Day, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, we got that. Rey Mysterio, Chad Gable. I don't know who the middle person is. Yeah. Women's tag, Becky and Charlotte versus Io and Asuka. No, that says Bad Bunny and Dominic. It's Breaker and Drew. Randy versus Kevin. The YS6 versus Judgment Day would have been cool. Now, for those who don't know why the YS6 have not been around, Bo Dallas is actually injured. And they wasted Alexa Bliss's return, which another thing. You made it seem like after the Royal Rumble and the Elimination check. Let me pull my face back up on this real quick. They made it seem like after the Royal Rumble and the Elimination Chamber that we were getting Alexa Bliss versus Liv Morgan, which I personally was here for, right? And then they went and did Liv and Raquel as the tag titles because you wanted to have something to do with Raquel, I guess. Put them belts back on Hayden Carter and Chance. Give it to Maxine Dupree and Natalia. Give it to Metaphor. Let them run with it. Do something. The Bailey match should have been Bailey and Roxanne Perez. Let them run a series. People keep forgetting we used to have these series matches. You started getting it in really big that we really paid attention to when it was Booker T and Chris Benoit. Turn around and did it again when it was Chris Benoit and MVP. I know what the common theme is: a dude who helped put people over and helped elevate their talent, and also a dude who killed his family and himself. But there's certain people that should have had matches. I do agree with this wholeheartedly. As a pro wrestler for 24 years, when my back is healed up and my lawsuit shit is done with this car accident, I'm working on getting back at least 1 or 2 more good years in the ring and running through. I wish kayfabe was still respected. I do not know why we need to see the process of you putting the gear together to watch Triple H telling Jey Uso, I'm going to put a rocket to your back. Okay, cool. But I don't need to see that. I don't need to see people in production watching Cody looking hurt and go, oh, he's selling. I don't need to see that. It is unfucking necessary. It is unnecessary. Yes, a lot of the business has been exposed. I get it. But God damn it, keep something. Because what you do, this is kind of the argument I have when it comes to comic book, movie, and TV show fans. And y'all know if you listen to Matt Titan and listen when I do a lot of these, I say this a lot. Let the surprises and shit happen. Let the stories be told without having to know what's going to happen. Let the shit play out as it should play out. It's too fucking much. We do not need a show showing you behind the scenes. Because again, you want these moments. These moments are also invoke emotions. You want these emotions so you can have these viral clips of people crying. The girl crying when Becky Lynch returns is a beautiful moment. But if we get to know that this is what the fuck is going to happen, then you don't get that moment. I don't want that. I don't know what's happening with this with the industry. Look, you are like I said, you are the global juggernaut. You are the big dog, and they swing they big dog nuts this weekend. Absolutely did. But damn, man, there's some shit y'all can chill on. Again, stop with the fucking. Oh man, my credit card is due tomorrow, and please tell me I have no money to pay it. Look at God. Okay, man, that was one of the things. Okay, so if anybody wants to go ahead and super chat $55 so I can pay my credit card tomorrow, that'd be great while I'm in surgery. Cool. That was fucking insane to have that happen. He said Triple H is burnt out and needs his help. I believe Hunter is kind of burnt out. I believe Vince was burnt out. I believe anybody when you have to do when you're writing for a program and for a program that has no days off. There's no break. There's no off season. You're gonna get burnt out because you have to write. You're predicting a year, quote unquote, and your year's more than likely going to your grand event, which is WrestleMania. And in the process, unfortunately, people get hurt, things happen, so you have to adjust. Also, you have this thing of the fans make a person that you didn't expect to be made. The fans will make a person in a minute, and it will shift the direction, And now you're like, well, fuck, the fans want this person. How do we interject them into a major storyline, something that's going to keep them going? And more so, not even just keep them going and elevate them in front of the fans, but get them to sell a lot of merchandise. That's just what it is. But you're doing all this, and the buck stops with you. So you got to creatively do this. And then every week, you have to make a TV show that is centered around pro wrestling. It is not a wrestling show. It is a TV show centered around pro wrestling. I really, really hope. I just don't like what's happened. And I think that this is going to be, with this TKO thing, it seemed like a great thing at first. But more and more, it is seeming like it was the worst possible thing, because we are getting so many we're getting so many layers pulled back and so much shit added that is diluting the product as a whole. Pro wrestling has always been about colorful characters, having incredible arguments, amazing storylines, phenomenal matches in the ring. It is not about this. This great match you're going to see is brought to you by Wingstop. Nobody gives a fuck. It's by Wingstop. I don't give a shit about, here's the Minute Maid orange juice section. Here's the drums. Nobody give a shit. Slim Jim only works because it's nostalgic. It's nostalgic. But all this other shit is ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. But I didn't want to just talk about WrestleMania this weekend. I also want to talk about this. Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan Centers debuted, and over the weekend, it got $60 million within its first 3 days. Okay, $60 million. Here is why this is a conversation that needs to be had. There are several people, non-black, I'll say, who have been trying to downplay the significance of an original film, not a blockbuster film, an original film making $60 million in its first 3 days, coming to rave reviews, being the first horror movie with an A cinema score, and trying to be like, well, it ain't made its money back yet. It is the first 3 fucking days. And then Variety started with this bullshit article. And then you had other people, friend of mine who I know, I've been knowing for years, Jeff Snyder, was like, oh, it's not race. It's not about black. It's all about green. Get the fuck out of here. It's about the global audience. And like I stated on Twitter, and I will state to everybody else who would keep saying about a global fucking audience, when it comes to centers, I need you to understand how marketing fucking goes. When it comes to overseas marketing, not in America, overseas, primarily the Chinese market, which everybody sucks the dick for in studios. And I say this as an actor who works in TV and film. But the Chinese market does not fucking accept black-led films. Does not fucking accept black films. They will put a mask to change some shit. They took Finn off the fucking poster of the Jedi film when he was on the front, right? What was the first one that was brought back? It was The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens. They took Finn off the poster of it. They had to put Chadwick's helmet on for Black Panther. Do not fucking tell me about a global market, because it does not fucking count. Because we know it's not going to happen there. But what happens domestically when this movie in 3 days can make $60 fucking million, and it is an original film. It's not an IP. It's not a franchise blockbuster. It is something brand new. And motherfuckers want to discredit it and move the goalposts. Get the fuck out of here. That is frustrating. That is frustrating. To have this happen, it is, you're telling me that now all of a sudden you don't care. It took Ben Stiller and Arnold Schwarzenegger to say something for all of a sudden these different trades to be like, you know what? Actually, Sinners did great for the Easter box office. Get the fuck out of here. Don't tell me about a global, oh, well, its marketing was 90 million and its budget was 90, so that makes it a blockbuster. No, the fuck it doesn't. It doesn't. Because the numbers go up regardless every year of how much it's spent. Look, I understand what Macro spends, or A24 or Neon. I get it, those smaller production companies. And even in this case. But Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus Christ. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Stop moving the goalposts for black films. The one comparison I saw, I know my buddy Mark Bernard and other people put up, how Sinners made 40 something odd million on what was it, 3,300 screens its first weekend. And people were like, oh, I think it's a flop. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood made 41 million on like 3,600 screens. And everybody was like, it's doing great. If I'm doing the numbers correct, because I know it was less. It's like, it's doing great. And it's like, you can't do that. Stop. Stop trying to move the fucking goalpost. When Jeff said that shit, it frustrated me because it's trying to be like, it's dismissive of what an original black. We already have a hard fucking time getting black and brown stories told. It is already a difficult fucking time getting them told. So when an original film, black or brown, is made, and it is received well, not only in the box office, but in critical reviews, you want to dismiss it? You want to make it seem like it's not a big deal? Get the fuck out of here. Then had the nerve to sit there and say, well, what about Andor and blah, blah, blah. That's a fucking Star Wars franchise. It is part of an IP thing. It is not original. It is Yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, I'm very frustrated with that. Because it should not be a discussion. There should be a celebration. But yet and still, you have people who want to nitpick and you can't celebrate it and just give it its flowers. You can't give it the respect and praise it deserves. You know what I'm saying? It just fucking is insane. Like we just said, the greatest thing. White people are experts on what is it racist, but seem to can't point out what is. When the people who are affected by racism, and I'm not even just saying black people, when brown people, and those be like, well, white people are victims of racism too. No, because we don't have power. Racism is ingrained in power, but discrimination, prejudice, all these other words you want to use, those are different things. That's another story. But the level of racism being used and passive aggressiveness to try to dismiss this movie is insane. This movie is phenomenal. Ryan Coogler has created a new genre of sorts because the film it's about vampires, but it's not fully a horror movie. It's not fully a thriller. It's not an action. There's a lot of comedic moments. It's not a drama. And I was like, well, what is it? It's a love story that encompasses all this. It is a love story that is about all these different things. Also, Michael B. Jordan playing two characters at the same time who are two completely opposite characters. He plays twin brothers, Elijah and Elias, Smoke and Stack, respectively. And they are two completely different characters. And then the other bullshit, Wumi Mosaku, people are like, oh man, I thought she was one of the twins' mama when I saw her. Why? Why did you? Because she's not a traditional smaller woman in the role, so she shouldn't be a love interest. Get the fuck out of here. To keep up with the level of historical accuracy, if you look at black women in the 30s, they were built like her, and they were love interests. They were wives. They were the mistresses that husbands were sneaking around with. They were the people were fawning and fighting over. So for people sitting going, man, I thought that was like an auntie or a mama at first. That shows how vain and shallow your mindset is and narrow-minded. Haley Steinfeld played the hell out of that role. To play as a passing woman in the South when she literally is passed. When you find out she's actually mixed with black and Filipino in real life, you're like, oh my fucking God. But also the fact she played this and said, she played this as, I am not a little girl, I'm a grown-ass woman. And she gave a grown woman performance. Delroy Lindo is a living fucking legend. Delroy Lindo plays a role where he takes you through the character's trauma and hurt and pain he's been through in life and that he has dealt with. And he takes that and he brings you into this character's world. And Delroy Lindo to me can do no fucking wrong. Lee Jun Lee, who plays Grace, who, again, Michael B. Jordan goes to historical accuracies. There was a massive Chinese population in the South in the segregation Jim Crow era. I didn't honestly know that until I did some research myself. So people are like, oh, they're making this up. No, there was a very large Chinese contingency that lived in the South, that they had stores that was, so one side, they would have two stores where one side would sell to only whites and the other side would sell to only blacks or coloreds. But to apply that and how they were embracing the community, it's just, man. Variety was writing sympathy articles with Gal Gadot when Snow White was failing. Knowledge said, to play devil's advocate, Variety hyped up inflated cap floor numbers, so it's not a race. So it is not a race issue, but a Disney hit piece. I'm sorry, what? So let me look at Cap's numbers real quick. Now, I want to pull this up. I'll make sure I do this correctly. Captain America. Come on. I got so much shit running and I need to delete a whole lot of files. Let me see. Spaghetti. Update. They want to sample a show. Okay. Captain America, Brave New World. Box office. So, all right, I'm pulling this up. We're 6 away from Lance's final domestic box office. Okay, hold on, because I'm trying to see exactly what they're saying. So it finally crossed. Okay, it's collected 76 million worldwide. All right. So it did. So I know this for a fact from talking to Mackie. The movie did make its money back. The movie did make its money back, which was the biggest thing. And okay, so that's that. It's the fourth highest grossing film in 2025 so far. And that's before the summer. So yeah. Internationally, he's made 214 million. Domestically, he's made 200 million for 414. Yeah, wide. It opened at 88 million, but again, it's a blockbuster film. Let's see. So I'm looking at the United Kingdom. It made 22 million. France, 14 million. I do not. So in China, it made 14 million. Okay. It opened at 10 million and made 4 million after that. But again, black films promoted in Chinese markets are just a thing that doesn't really. Cap 4 is a big IP film, the fourth entry, absolutely. But also, let's just keep it a buck. Let's not act as if because it is a big IP film, it was automatically supposed to do numbers when the pushback has been a black Captain America. Let's just call it for what it is. There's been nonstop pushback on a black Captain America, even though it is canon. And people are like, well, it's because it's who it is. No, it's because it's a black Captain America. When people are like, oh, no, get a shield of Bucky. It's in the comics that Cap is Sam Wilson. So that's what we're running with. So that was a big pushback. That was a real big pushback. But are you saying that? Yeah, because are you saying Disney paid for a hit piece on a non? Yeah, that would make no sense. Yeah, Disney wouldn't pay when Ryan Coogler is about to direct Black Panther 3. But I digress. So yeah, it just. So right now it is at $63 million. Excuse me. It has done $48 million domestically. This movie has done 48. Sinners has done $48 million domestically, 15 million internationally. It has not. I don't think, like I said, somebody said about China not doing vampires or whatnot. China doesn't accept vampires and ghosts, so it hasn't even opened in China. Brazil gave it almost 1 million. The Netherlands 364, Saudi Arabia 292, Norway 132. But yeah, like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I really just want people to respect when great things are happening. That's just it. All right. I got to get ready to get up out of here. Like I said, I got to prep myself and get ready for tomorrow for the surgery. Thank y'all for rocking with your boy. Oh, absolutely. I agree. I think word of mouth is going to definitely help the second weekend. I think that's what a lot of people were waiting on. I think a lot of people were waiting on seeing how people were going to receive it. How are people going to be like, all right, people have said you got to go see it. You got to go see it. So now I'm going to go see it because I know people have done it. I know people who said already they've seen this film 3-4 times from regular IMAX to 70 millimeter, which Ryan Coogler says you need to see it at 70 millimeter. So that's something I'm gonna definitely go try to do. I'm gonna get up out of here though. But if y'all follow me, you already know. Find me Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, Mr. J Washington. I'm having surgery tomorrow, so I'll try to be as updating as I can before I get knocked out and wake back up. All that shit. I do not know if I'll do one of these tomorrow or if I will do one Thursday. Join the Supervillain Squad on Patreon if you want to support all those good things. All right, y'all. Holla at y'all later. Take care. I'm out. Bye. Hit the stream thing. Oh, I got to set the outro video. I ain't set the outro video. Duh. That's the outro video. Select that. Set as outro video. Play outro. Thank you, y'all. Again, if you want to send love, because I got to do a little GoFundMe too for the fucking thing. So if you want to send like donations and support to help keep me financially going, you can literally do the Streamlabs or the Cash App Venmo. That's right there. Please do that. All right. Let's see if this works. I'm out. Bye.
Bye, bitch. Bye, bitch. Bye, bitch.